It was amazing and then horrible because people don't believe me when I say this, but it's the truth. So we recorded Thursday mornings, recorded Batman Beyond because that was the day that I didn't have to go into work later because we shoot the show on Thursday nights. One Thursday went in and recorded the last Batman Beyond and then drove to work and shot the last Boy Meets World the same Thursday.
Wow.
So that was a rough one. Both shows ended up the same Thursday. So Batman Beyond, I got to come back for years because we still had all the ADR to do, but the actual recording ended Thursday morning and then the actual Boy Meets World ended Thursday night.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was the same day.
Tough Thursday.
How did that drop on your lap for Batman Beyond?
Like every other, your agent calls and says they're auditioning for Batman. I went, and why are they calling me? Because I don't have a chance of that ever happening. And then I ended up, getting very, very lucky. And it was the only reason they called me in is because Bruce Timm's wife was a big Batman Beyond fan. And so they brought me in, and I read, I think, 3 times. Figured I didn't have a prayer, and ended up getting the role, which is weird.
So, I talked about this with the other folks. Now that Kevin has gone and done the live action thing, like, what about you? Are you going to eventually try to do that?
I'm hoping the next version they write is called 44-year-old slightly out of shape Terry McGinnis. And if they do that, I could nail that part tomorrow. Where it's like he can run for a bit but needs to stop because he's winded. That'd be great, but no, I don't see it happening. And every day on Twitter I get, are you doing the live action crossover? Are you doing the live action crossover? So, would it be? Yeah, it'd be great, but I think I'm probably past my window with Terry.
Got any Kevin Conroy stories?
He's the worst. Everything about him is bad.
I knew it.
He's gonna sit here and charm you, but not a good guy. No. Kevin, Kevin and I had, when I started my first animated series. So the relationship that he and I have is very similar to the relationship that Bruce and Terry have. He really mentored me in how to become a voiceover actor, how to sit, how to speak in the microphone properly. So we always talk about that, joke about that, where it's like we were the live action Bruce and Terry. And whenever you have Kevin Conroy as your mentor into the Batman world, you're doing okay. So I was already a leg up on anybody who didn't have his expertise next to them, so I was pretty happy with that.
How does it feel to be part of, or can you talk about being such an icon in like Gen X history and now millennial history? It's like the longevity and what you've been involved in is incredible.
I had no idea that it was going to be like that. You go and you as an actor, you take a role and then you have fun, and you don't know what it's going to mean to somebody or if it's going to mean anything. I always tell people that I'm the quintessential example of how if you take a left instead of a right, your life is completely and totally different. Boy Meets World was casting at the time. It was a show called The Untitled Ben Savage Project at the time. And they called and said, "Do you want to audition?" I said yes, and I got sick. And so they went off and they cast somebody else. There was another Eric that actually started the show, did the pilot, they shot the whole thing. And he was fine. The actor was fine. There wasn't a problem with his performance, but he was only an inch taller than Ben, and they knew Ben was going to grow, and they wanted the older brother to look like the older brother. So I always say, that kid's 5 inches taller, and I'm not sitting there right now. That's kind of the way it is in this business and in life. So, you go and do a Boy Meets World or a Batman Beyond or a Kim Possible or My Date with the President's Daughter, something that's not supposed to be big or last, and nobody thinks too much about it. And then it gets all lumped together, and every time I come to these conventions, I had a friend say to me one time, he said, "I'm going to do a drinking game next time I'm here." He said, "I'm going to keep a bottle next to me, and I'm going to take a shot every time somebody says, 'You're my childhood.'"
Yeah.
And he said, "I'll be dead by lunch."
Yeah.
It's very sweet, and you just don't realize. You're kind of in the moment, so it was funny. I was watching. I watch Seinfeld every night. It's my wife can't fall asleep without watching it. It's a very strange thing in our relationship. So Seinfeld every night, and now she's not here, and for some reason now I can't fall asleep without it. So Seinfeld on last night, and I was watching an interview with him where he was talking about the last episode of the show, and he said human beings aren't able to kind of realize the moment they're in, the moment they're actually in it. It's not until later that they feel it. So it wasn't until a long time after Boy and after Batman and after everything where you kind of look back and you realize how important it was to some people. Not just me. I mean, obviously a huge part of my life, but it mattered to a lot of people, whether it is Batman or Boy Meets World or Kim Possible, and that's awesome. So I had no idea that it was going to matter to people, and it does, which is cool.
What is your Boy Meets World? Not
Family
Seinfeld.
Ties
Oh,
and MASH.
really?
Yeah, Family Ties and
Ooh.
MASH. I always say I'm sitting here because of Alex P. Keaton and Family Ties.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I never wanted to be Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. I only wanted to be Michael J. Fox on Family Ties. So.
Incredible. Thank you.
You lorded over Ryder Strong that you were actually the coolest part of Boy Meets World.
I would say I'm the funniest part. He's so cool. He was hipster in '93. Like nobody's been hipster like right. He started hipster. When you meet a 12-year-old kid who's, you know, got the long hair coming down here, he's reading Proust and drinking cappuccinos. It's like you're 12. Be 12. So yeah, Ryder was the original hipster. So maybe the funniest part, but he'll always be cooler than me. He just always will. Yeah, leather bracelets and everything.
You got to revisit Eric with Earl Meets World.
Yeah.
Is there another character you'd like to bring back sometime if you got the opportunity?
I'd love to be Terry again, which would be great. And apparently they say if we can sell the box set really well, there's a chance we're going to do something else, which would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be fun to play. But yeah, I think bringing Ron Stoppable back would be a lot of fun too. There's a ton of characters that I've had so much fun doing. Yeah, the thing with Eric is he's a senator now, which happened on Girl Meets World, and at the time, you know, it's kind of like that's the most ridiculous thing in the world. And you kind of look at what's happened in politics, and you go, actually, not that ridiculous. So maybe he could run for something. I think that'd be fun too. He just poked me. I thought you all saw that. That's assault.
Is this the last table for you?
Yeah,
Okay, good. You got like a couple more questions.
that was assault, but everybody saw that.
We have video.
It's on video.
That's what he does.
He does.
Do you have passion projects?
I do. There's a lot of things that I'm passionate about. My friend and I are writing a film right now. So I haven't been on camera in a very long time. I went back into Girl Meets World, but anything kind of new I haven't done in a long time because I don't know. I talk about it all the time, but I deal with anxiety. So it's one of the things that led me into voiceover. And the more I've started to do little on-camera things, the more I realized that maybe I want to take a shot again. So a friend of mine, he wrote an amazing film called Swimming with Sharks with Frank Whaley, and he writes a lot of stuff for Robert Rodriguez, and he and I are working on a film right now that we're hopefully going to start shooting in about 3 months. So that's going to be we're not saying yet, but we're pretty excited about that. And that's one where we're really kind of swinging for the fences. So that's where all the passion is right now.
I think it's so important that role models are open about things that deal with like anxiety because everyone deals with it, and for people to be able to see that and see that you're still doing the things that you love and it doesn't hold you back. Is there anything that you can say to them that?
I started to live by one motto. It was Eleanor Roosevelt who said, do one thing every day that scares you. Mm-hmm. And when you deal with anxiety, that takes on an entirely different meaning. I mean, for some people, it's literally, I was talking to a girl the other day where she said, I can't get on the subway. I can't do it. And I said, go 1 block. And she hit me up on Twitter, and then she said, I did it. I went 1 block. And so it's like, it's that 1 block that changes your whole life. It's one little thing. Going back to Girl Meets World changed my life again because I hadn't been able to get on camera in so long. And to then run out in front of the audience and look over and see my wife just bawling, it was worth it. So yeah, and then all the juices start flowing, and you realize at the end of the day, we're gonna have a big panel. I know for a fact that I'm gonna have an anxiety attack right before we have the panel. I know it. It's just that's part of my life. I almost wouldn't know what I'd feel like if I didn't have one. I know every time I get on a plane, I'm gonna have one. I have to fly for work, so I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna let it rob me of my life, which it did for many, many years. And there's a lot of people in there that deal with that don't leave their house. That you find that you start to shut yourself off, and your world gets much, much, much smaller. And so I'm in the process of opening up again, which is a lot of fun. And I'm taking people with me, and I think that's kind of cool. So pretty excited. Yeah.
Do you prefer dramatic roles over comedic roles as a voice actor, or is it like?
You know what's funny is on camera I love to make people laugh. Voiceover is the only place in the world where I can be cool. So there's something kind of nice about playing a superhero or something like that. But when you get the combination of the two, like playing Star-Lord for 5 years, that was kind of the great combination of badass but fun. Yeah, it was cool. My favorite times were going from Batman Beyond to Kim Possible, like in the same 2 or 3 day period, whereas you've got to be Terry one day and Ron the next is always a fun kind of transition. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride, that's for damn sure.
Going back to that anxiety for a minute, how do you get through that invisible wall. Like, you
run.
have anxiety getting on a plane, you have anxiety before a panel, and there's that moment where it's just there's nothing there, but it's like here and here might as well be 3 miles away from each other.
Yeah, you run head first. That's all you can do. You put your head down, you run head first, and you slam into it. And it's either going to knock you back or you're going to break through it. But either way, I'm getting on that flight. I'm going to the panel. And it's not like I won't sit there the entire time in an anxiety attack. I'll have it before I go on, and then I'll get out there, and I'll be fine. And then I'm having a great time. And then I finish, and I think to myself, how easily I could have missed that memory because of the 30 seconds before I got on stage. And your whole life is different. So it's that 30 seconds is what changes everything, and I refuse to let it rob me of any more moments in my life. So that's what happened. And again, it's now been 25 years. If you go back and you watch Boy Meets World, I was really thin for like the first 5 seasons, and then I come back and I'm heavy, and it's because I was medicated. And so I put on like 30 pounds, 30 or 40 pounds, and it changed my life so much that it just kept getting worse, and you keep spiraling. And then once you spiral down far enough, then you're convinced that the world is just what you can make it, and there's nothing else out there. And you got to start breaking through all that stuff.
Do you put this stuff into your voice acting, like this characteristic? Because
you can. It depends. Again, it depends on what role it is. I mean, it's easy to play anxiety when you're Ron Stoppable, for instance, or even a Terry. Where I think you do episodes where now you're scared and you still got to go out and do something. That's always important to play and to talk about. And the thing that's amazing is, if you sit around a table like this with people, and there's 6, 7, 8 people on a table, and you go, I deal with anxiety. Normally 3 or 4 go, I do too. It's just so prevalent, and nothing helped me. Nothing helped me more than talking about it. The second you start talking about it, you go from there. You hit me again, that's twice.
We have a documentary.
Hey, thank you. That's 2 times you hit me.
No, that wasn't it. You wanted it?